Onlyfans is a subscription-based website where individuals can sign up as creators or as viewers. In January 2024, the platform received over 1 billion visits worldwide, a figure that reflects its prominence in the online content community. The company, operated by Phoenix International Limited, also runs OFTV, a streaming platform separate from its subscription service. Originally, OnlyFans was not intended to become synonymous with adult content. However, it became known as a pornographic platform. On August 9, 2021, the company announced it would ban explicit content from creators, citing pressure from banks and payment processors. This decision was reversed less than 2 months later, on October 1st, 2021. Today, creators on site are not only content producers, but also influencers, tasked with promoting themselves across social media to attract subscribers. Much of this marketing projects a glamorous and financially successful lifestyle. During the COVID-19 pandemic, when online activity surged, this became especially appealing. The promise of working from home and earning substantial income through content creation seemed to many like a viable and exciting career path. The rise of OnlyFans has been shaped by its visibility on social media. Influencers such as Belle Delphine have played a notable role in the platform's cultural growth. Her controversial online persona and provocative content have attracted millions of views, pushing OnlyFans further into the public eye. Celebrity endorsements have also driven the platform's expansion. Cardi B, Tyler Posey, and former Disney star Bella Thorne all joined the site, generating mainstream headlines and normalizing its presence in popular culture. Even media outlets like Munchies opened accounts, signaling a shift from niche adult platform to a broader, if still sexually suggestive marketplace. A major factor in this growth is flex culture, creators flaunting wealth through luxury cars, designer fashion, private jet travel, and high-end vacations. This visibility creates the perception that becoming an OnlyFans creator can lead to sudden financial success. As Heather Berg writes in Working for Love, Loving for Work, Discourses of Labor in Feminist Sex Work Activism, the dignity of a living earned and a heady blend of both self-sacrifice and fulfilling escape from drudgery of a 9-to-5 job. It is sometimes work that is barely work at all, but instead a performance of the innate self for which the lucky just happen to be paid. This framing romanticizes sex work labor as effortless and natural, an appealing narrative for young women, and even underage girls who encounter this content online. One high-profile example is Danielle Bregoli, better known as Bad Baby. After gaining viral fame as a teenager on the Dr. Phil show, she opened an OnlyFans account the day she turned 18, reportedly earning $1 million in her first 24 hours. Social media comment sections are filled with younger users expressing their desire to follow this path upon turning 18. A 2025 study conducted in Guadalajara, Spain, with high school students aged 12 to 16, found that adolescents are not only aware of OnlyFans, but some view it as a viable professional path, particularly for girls who fit certain beauty standards. Participants cited sexual agency and economic benefits as motivators, often minimizing the risks of cyberbullying, exploitation, or long-term stigma. The pornographic industry has a long history, dating back to the Enlightenment era of the 18th century, when printing technology made it possible to mass-produce explicit written and visual material. In 1989, the U.S. Supreme Court ruling in California v. Freeman legalized full pornographic expression, influencing global norms and cementing the United States as the largest producer and distributor of pornography. The international dominance meant that US trends, aesthetics, and business models shaped the global industry. Studies have consistently examined the effects of pornography on audiences. But what of the impact on those within the industry? Sex workers face serious safety risks, including physical violence and, in the most extreme cases, murder. These dangers are heightened in countries where sex work is criminalized, as this pushes the industry underground and limits workers' access to legal protections. In Northern Ireland, for instance, the Criminal Law Sexual Offences Act 2017 has had negative consequences for sex workers' safety. As Catherine McGarry and Paul Ryan write in Sex Worker Lives Under the Law, a community-engaged study of access to health and justice in Ireland. The findings from this study point to the negative impact of current laws on the abilities of sex workers to keep safe and reduce harms to their health and well-being. This was similar to the Nordic model. The Nordic model, also known as the Swedish model, criminalizes the purchase of sexual services while providing resources for those exiting prostitution. While intended to reduce exploitation, evidence from countries that have implemented this approach shows that it is often making sex work more dangerous. A report from Queen's University Belfast assessing the impact of Northern Ireland's criminalisation of buying sex found sex workers are exposed to higher rates of antisocial and nuanced behaviour, and sex workers reported higher levels of anxiety and unease and increased stigmatization. Onlyfans creators, as a part of the broader sex industry, also face safety threats. A Reuters investigative series revealed that while the platform markets itself as the safest platform on the planet, it has left a trail of damaged lives. Stigma is a defining factor in the lived experience of sex workers. Georgina Voss, in Stigma and the Shaping of the Pornography Industry, notes that some means of managing identity are available, which include creating and enforcing a divide between us and them, including using passing and covering, techniques such as stage names, altering self-presentation when at work, drawing on a community of support within workers. Stigma not only impacts how sex workers see themselves, but also how they access or fail to access legal and medical support. As Voss further writes, sex workers are exposed to more exploitative and hazardous conditions as a function of their stigma. Workers find it difficult to obtain medical treatment and recourse through police and courts. On social media, this stigmatization can also manifest as harassment and psychological abuse, as stated in Identities and Intimacies on Social Media, Transnational Perspectives. Demonetization also takes more covert forms, such as harassment or psychological and verbal violence, burdening workers with having to cope with behaviors reflecting the stigmatization of their work. The work itself is often far from effortless. Creators must manage photo and video shoots, edit and market their content, and maintain ongoing parasocial relationships with subscribers. As one Onlyfans creator states in the same volume, I try to hear from my customers every day. This takes me a lot of time, but I know that it helps to make the customer become attached and to renew the subscription the following month. The safety concerns of sex work are constant and pervasive. Melissa Hope Ditmore writes in Sex Work Matters, concern for one's safety can permeate a street worker's lived experience. As Ernest put it, you have to watch your back out there. They watch you and wait until you're alone. According to a systematic review in the American Journal of Public Health, this systematic review identified consistent evidence of a high burden of violence against sex workers globally. We identified no studies on perpetrators of violence, all studies focusing on samples of sex workers. Being a young woman in sex work, as is common amongst Onlyfans creators, adds an additional layer of vulnerability. At 18, cognitive maturity is still developing, making it difficult to fully grasp the long-term consequences of entering the sex industry. Despite OnlyFans' marketing efforts to present itself as a PG content platform, the majority of its content is adult. Fiona Atwood, LL, in Porn Studies Deplatforming Sex, writes, OnlyFans corporate communications were attempting to clean up its image, reposition itself as mainstream sexy, rather than not safe for work. The reality is that success on the platform requires significant time, skill, and investment. For most, the myth of quick and easy money is exactly that, a myth. Ultimately, the myths surrounding OnlyFans as an easy route to wealth mask the reality of the work involved. Financial success is often limited to those who already have an established online following, or who dedicate substantial time, skill, and resources to the platform. For young women drawn in by social media portrayals of luxury, the decision to join OnlyFans can have long-lasting consequences, personal, social, and psychological. Acknowledging the labor, stigma, and safety risks inherent in this form of sex work is essential if we are to move beyond the glamorous narratives that dominate online spaces.